are the simplest. Now, since I got started network marketing 13 years ago, a lot of things changed because it became so much simpler and more efficient with Energy 526. We've taken the internet and harnessed it to a professional presentation done by Carl Snare, one of the best presenters in the industry, that's out there at your fingertips 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All you've got to do, and that's all I do, is ask people to go take a look at my website. And when I say my website, I'm always, by the way, I'm always referring to Energy 526. There's 8 websites now. Everybody choose what you like, but I'm telling you where I send people is to Energy 526 because there's nothing to distract them there. What I mean by that is you can send them to the .biz site. There's everything. That's the most beautiful site we have, our .biz. If you want to go look at it, but you've really got to direct them hard to only watch option 1 and option 2. Otherwise, pretty soon they're reading the history of the Thompson family, or they're reading other things that interest them, and they haven't yet seen the presentation. All you want them to do is get the information. So make sure you start using Energy 526. How many people regularly send and occasionally look at it themselves? Send people 526? Now I'll ask you this. If you're a senior consultant or above, please stand. Senior consultants or above. Yeah, nationals, you're above that. Yeah. Now, everybody get a good look, and I want everybody that doesn't use Energy 526 to sit down. Is that a clue? Yeah. The top people, thanks y'all, you can sit down now. The top people are using that. Now, not everyone is in the computer age. Some people just will not go look at a website. There's all kinds of fears about that. Maybe they don't necessarily watch it on a computer. So we came out with the Cracking the Code DVD, which is essentially Energy 526, pared down to a briefer presentation, more direct, that frankly nowadays you can watch on almost all televisions. Almost everybody's got a DVD player. So you give it to them and say, hey, why don't you go home and watch this on your TV? Y'all see how big Carlos was a little while ago? Get me that big at their house too. Come right into their living room and present it. Now the live business presentation, that's my favorite. Everything I do in business is walking them down the steps. What I mean by that is there's in sales, and you don't have to be a great salesperson to be good at this, but some sales techniques will help you. And they say in sales it takes 4 to 7 contacts before someone's ready to make a buying decision. And that's why we've walked through all this today. The first one is when you first make contact with them, call them and invite them, ask them to look at 526, that's contact number 1. The second's when you follow up and ask them if they saw it and they tell you no, that they didn't go look at it, and you remind them or give them a deadline to go look at it again. The third one's when they actually watch 526. And the fourth one is when you say, do you see something you like? You ask them about how 526 approached them. Now you don't ever want to say, did that make sense? It's did that make sense to you? We know it makes sense. So now you're already at 4 or 5 contacts before you, and they say, I may have a few questions. Well, at that point, the greatest thing you can do is lead them to a live business presentation. But I'm also going to show you that you can lead them to a conference call or use your upline for a 3-way call. But that's the most critical moment. They're now in the buying position or buying frame of mind. They're ready to do something. But I can tell you, if you're not using the live business presentation, by using, I mean, if there's one within an hour or two of you, you got to be at one every week. That's your job. You've got to insist that everybody you work with goes to business presentations, because I'll tell you, no matter what comes along, what I've ever seen in internet recruiting and videos and home business and the great one-on-one presenters, no one builds a huge, momentous organization without large, dynamic live presentations. And we need you for that. The people in this room today can change the whole future of Ambit Energy if we all commit to make our home presentation, I mean our hometown's presentation, the best in Ambit Energy. That's what will make it happen. But you know, if you're here in Dallas and you're talking to them on Friday, you probably don't want to wait till Tuesday for a DeSoto meeting or Thursday for a meeting. You need them to see that presentation right away. Well, there's conference calls Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. People familiar with that? 9 p.m. conference calls Central Time. Business presentation, one every day at noon. Lane Winsett does those conference calls. But the single biggest thing is the 3-way call. And I'm frequently surprised at how often we talk about 3-way calls and how seldom do people actually understand what we're talking about. And I just want to roll through it as if none of you have ever heard of a 3-way call before and talk about the dynamics and why we do what we do in a 3-way call. By a 3-way call, what I mean is I'm prospecting, and I'm about to call some people and ask them to look at Ambit, and I ask them to look at it, and I'm going to call back and do my follow-up calls. Now here's a personal rule. Don't get me on a three-way call if your prospect hadn't seen Energy 526 or a website or DVD or something. They need to see that. They need to be in that buying frame of mind, because when you call me in, I'm going to close. That's what your upline's job is, to close. You want to put that prospect up where they can be closed. So let's say I'm going to do some follow-up calls. The first thing I would do is pick someone that I know I can count on. Like I may pick Damian Pikacek. He's an executive consultant. I sponsored him, but it doesn't matter, by the way. It's having a third party that can validate and speak for you, because you're talking to your friend, presumably, someone you know. And you know what the toughest thing is about people that you know? They know you.
Yeah.
It's a real drawback sometimes, because you're about to talk to them about financial freedom. They remember you in the bathtub with a lampshade on, or drinking too much at a party, or whatever you've done in your life. They know all those things. They're not quite ready to buy into you. They like the system. Bring in someone else. So what I would do first, if I was using, say, Damien, I would call Damien and say, hey, this afternoon, I'm going to be making some three-way calls. Would you please watch for my phone number? Because when I call, if you're available, I need you to do that for me, to make those calls. He knows exactly what the routine is, so I've given him advance notice. If you're using me, give me advance notice, and I will make sure to key your number in with your name, so that when my phone rings, we all know that works, that comes up and I know that's what it is. That means showtime. That is the single biggest job in my career, is when one of you guys says, I need you for a three-way call. When that call comes in, that's it. That's showtime. That's make or break time. So when the call comes in, the first thing you do is, by the way, always have the prospect on the phone when you call the upline. Never do it the other way. It's called posturing. If you get, say, me on the phone, and then we call up your friend that just looked at the business, and you say, I got one of the top money earners on the phone, we want to talk to you, he feels like he needs to back up now. We've ganged up on him. He has become the most special person, and you brought in your heavy hitters to help close him into the business, right? That's the posture. On the other hand, if you get him on the phone and you say, listen, I'm about to call Glenda Farmer. I'm going to try and get her on the phone because she's really good at this. She's really busy. Now you want to edify her. She's really busy. She's a senior consultant, extremely successful, always out helping people. I don't know if I can get her on the phone or not. Now you've already called her and told you were going to use her, right? But I don't know if I can get her on the phone or not, but hang on. Now, I didn't ask him if it was okay, by the way. This is what I'm going to do, hang on. Hit the switch hook, get another dial tone, or on your cell phone, dial it, however your cell phone company does, everybody a little different. And I call on the phone, and now I'm on the line privately, and I say, Glenda or Damien, whoever I'm using, I say, this is Steve, showtime. And she says, great, who you got on the line? I said, it's my friend Scott Lawrence. He's a vice president, a real sharp guy, but frankly, he's on the corporate side. So I had to put that. And I know he works a lot of hours, and he's not going to have near the residual income we are, so I want you to talk to him a little bit. Now, what you would really do is say, Glenda, I called you because you're a grandmother, and I've got somebody else on the phone here that's got a family, and I want to relate that because I'm a single guy. And she said, okay, go ahead, what's his name? I said, Scott. And I click over, and then I'm going to say, hey, Scott, I am lucky. I got my friend Glenda on the phone. She is awesome at this business. Her name's Glenda Farmer, originally from West Texas, now lives in Austin, Texas. And man, any questions you have about what you just saw in 526, she has got the answers for it. Glenda, and then I'm out. I'm out of the conversation. And if you open your mouth again in the next 60 seconds, it died. Your three-way call is a total failure. I don't know how many times I've had somebody call me and say, wow, hey, Bill, I've got Steve on the phone. This is Steve. He is tearing it up. He's one of the top engineers, a national consultant. He can answer any of your questions. Go ahead, Steve. And I say, hey, Bill, what did you say you liked the best? And Bill says, oh, man, I like the money part. And that guy jumped. Then my consultant jumps in and says, oh, man, wasn't that cool? But didn't you like the part about? And he goes into the presentation again, like he went and swept up all the popcorn in the lobby, brought it back, and thrown it on the guy again. So please stay out of it at that point. And when I edify Glenda, the first thing Glenda will do is say, hi, Bill, nice to meet you. And I got to tell you, you're really fortunate to have hooked up with Steve. Steve's one of the best business builders we got. This guy really takes care of his people, has